I saw Loveless on Sunday night at the Irish Film Institute in Dublin, in front of a packed audience. The screening was followed by a Q&A with director Andrey Zvyagintsev and producer Alexander Rodnyansky. But more on that later. Loveless is directed by Andrey Zvyagintsev, who made the Oscar-nominated Leviathan as well as The Banishment and The Return. The film follows an estranged Russian couple, Xenia and Boris, who, going through a bitter divorce, neglect to pay attention to their shy son Alexei. The film, much like its predecessor Leviathan, is a stunning drama brought to the heights of a thriller by assured direction and an intense, riveting screenplay. In this way, it calls to mind the work of Nuri Bilge-Ceylan, the director of Winter Sleep and Once Upon a Time in Anatolia, and Asghar Farhadi, director of A Separation and The Salesman. That being said, Zvyagintsev is in a league of his own. From the outset, Loveless pulls you in with a gripping score, stunning cinematography, and fantastic performances by the dedicated cast. The film has absolutely zero fat, which only adds to its intensity. Every shot has been expertly composed to tell the required story without the need for pointless cutaways or close-ups. It's a perfect example of visual storytelling. Though the dialogue is used to devastating effect, the mean-spirited arguments of Xenia and Boris are biting and heartbreaking in their frankness, the film never overuses dialogue. Much like its pitch-perfect shot choice, the dialogue is only used when it informs story and character. One scene in particular towards the climax of the film took my breath away. Though it's a simple two-shot with Xenia and Boris observing something below the frame, the performances on screen by Mariana Spivak and Alexei Rozin, as well as the keen-eyed direction overseeing them, create a rollercoaster of emotions in a short span of 2 minutes. It's a beautifully realised moment, the combination of the film's tension and the character's refusal to accept a possibly harsh truth. Zvyagintsev knows exactly how long to let a scene linger. He is a master of atmosphere and suspense, as well as being deeply humanistic in portraying his characters, regardless of how seemingly distasteful they may seem as human beings. Many have read political sentiments from the film, and being set between the years of 2012 to 2015 at the height of the Ukrainian conflict, it certainly has a lot to say about the current problems at the heart of Putin's Russia. However, at its core, the film is utterly universal in its depiction of heartlessness, the selfish nature of humans, and how these attributes can be passed down from generation to generation. Loveless speaks to profound themes on family, childhood, society, religion, and personal responsibility without ever losing sight of the story at its core. The film is utterly deserving of its Best Foreign Language Film Oscar nomination and would be a worthy winner. I'm going to give Loveless 5 stars out of 5. Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed my review of Loveless. I had a great time at the Q&A on Sunday. I managed to ask a question which was pretty nerve-wracking in front of about 250 people. I asked Zvyagintsev about his use of water in his films in like Leviathan and now in Loveless, and asked if there was any specific reason he chose water as a symbol or like a metaphor. Through a Russian translator, I eventually got my answer that he isn't as keen on using metaphor anymore or symbolism as he was in his past few films. Now I think there is a certain amount of symbolism in Loveless, and maybe he's being a bit modest, or maybe some of it is subconscious because he's such a great director now. But I think that was a really interesting answer as well, because maybe when you're that good of a director, you don't need to rely on things like metaphor or kind of visual tricks to tell your story. Anyway, that was interesting. I brought a DVD of The Banishment with me, which I haven't had a chance to see yet, just in the hopes that I could get a signature, and I don't know if you can see that. Andrey Zvyagintsev signed it, and producer Alexander Rodnyansky, who actually didn't produce this film. This was the only film of Zvyagintsev's that he didn't produce, but he said it'll be different anyway, so that's a unique signature to have on The Banishment. I'm going to frame this at some point, because he is one of my favourite directors now. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. There's going to be a podcast on The Shape of Water in the next few days to a week. Hopefully I'll have Dave back for that. And I'm working on a few movie lists that I think you might like. Okay, thanks very much guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.